What does all this have in common? That's what today's video is all about. I'm Gary Marsh, this is PDC Safety. Let's get after it. Alright, so I'm going to try to make this a quick and painful, get it, video. So what do all these have in common? Well, I can tell you right now, they all have expiration dates. And they all show up in most first aid kits. A lot of times, a lot of this stuff is generic or additions. It's not all part of the OSHA requirements, but there are several things on here that are required items. You may also have, I don't know, aspirin, Imodium, stuff like that. They will all also have expiration dates, and you need to be mindful of that whenever you're doing your monthly facility inspections. Maybe some of you might be doing your first aid kits on a weekly basis. I think for the most part, most places are doing it on a monthly facility type basis. It's all up to you guys how you guys do it, as long as you guys are inspecting them. I do mine on a monthly basis, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking at my antiseptic sprays, and I'm looking for the dates on them. This one here is really open, and you can see it right away, 8 of 2017, so this is expired. Hydrogen peroxide, this one has it down here, expires 12 of 17, so this one's expired. Well, you can see right here, right off the bat, that each one of these are in different areas. This one's stamped here. This one's stamped here. You're going to find on paper, right, on these little packets like this, they could be in the writing or they could be stamped on the side. There's any number of places that they can put them in. Let's take, for instance, this one doesn't actually have one. I just wanted to show you that it is a cleaning wipe for respirators, but yet when you look throughout the entire writing on this, there is no expiration date on this. But if you were to buy it by the actual box, you can't buy these each. You have to buy them by the box. The box actually has the expiration date on it. So if you're going to separate these from the box, then you need to physically put the expiration date on these so you can capture that and also be able to replace them when that expiration date comes due. Some of the other ones, they already have it on them, and it's pretty easy to see. Like this one's 6/16. These are itch relief creams. This one's another itch relief cream. It's right over here. You got expiration January 2013. And you have antiseptic towelettes. Believe it or not, they have an expiration date. This one has 12/16. Now, if you open it up and you look at it, yeah, it's still pretty soft and luscious and wet and all that good stuff, and it's going to be usable. However, if you are inspected by OSHA and they come along and they see this expiration 12/16, that is a regulatory deficiency, and you're going to be wrote up for it. So remember that for the future. This is triple antibiotic ointment. It has a 517, so you can see each one of these. These are required in your kits. This one's 9 of 13. These are burn gel, Burn-Aid burn gels. So these items, I think mine, I usually keep 25 of these packets in in my smaller version kits, and then my larger version, 100 or more, I usually carry about 50 of these in it. It all depends on what you're doing those too. If you're in a factory setting that burns are quite limited, very rare, then maybe you don't need to carry those as much, and maybe you would need more of, say, like a 2-ounce spray, burn spray like this, like the hydrogen peroxide. Not particularly like hydrogen peroxide, but you get my drift. It would be in a spray format, or spray format, sorry. Another thing is lubricant eye drops. Yes, these do have an expiration date. If you look at these, it's going to be on the package, and then it's also going to be in here, but sometimes old eyes can't see that expiration date in there. It's really hard to see, and sometimes it just blends in, and it's really, really hard to tell. So you're really going to want to look at the packages and make sure that you get the actual expiration date. I'm not quite sure where this one is. Here it is. It would be stamped on, that's 5 of 2017. Really hard to tell. If I flash this around, you can see kind of like the lot number stamped on there, and then there's a date as well. So eye drops, all eye drops have an expiration date on them. You just need to find it. This one's like 12/17. Cold spray though, this one has it on the bottom side, and it says expiration 2 of 2016. So believe it or not, I was under the impression that cold sprays were never, they never had an actual expiration date, but in fact, some do. So you got to make sure you look at that. Hand sanitizer even has an expiration date. You're going to find these somewhere in the writing. It might be stamped on it, but for the most part, it's usually in the writing somewhere around the front side, but a lot of times it's just stamped. This one particularly does not, and I think the reason for that is it's actually liquid in there, in that it's not a towelette. Towelettes have a tendency to dry out. The other thing is like ammonia, right? These ammonia inhalants, this box here, you don't see it on the box, an expiration date anywhere, no matter where you look. And then if you go to look at these, if you look on the sides of them, you'll see an expiration date here of, in this case, 9 of 05. These are really expired, by the way. However, ammonia inhalants do have an expiration date. And then wound seals on the package, you're going to see an expiration date. Like this one's still good, it's 7 of 2019. And you're also, if you strip them apart, you're going to see here 8 of 2018, and this one, that is expired. So regardless of whether you have them in the pouch or outside of the pouch, you're going to have an expiration date on either one. Again, antibiotic hand wipes, these also have an expiration date on them. This one here particularly, I'm not sure where it is. I know you got a number here that's stamped in it. That's like, that looks like the lot number actually. So maybe the paws don't have an expiration date on it, but it does contain alcohol. So more than likely, and it's a pad or a cloth, much the same as like this cloth here. So at some point, even in the package like this, it will dry out. Wet ones, they all have expiration dates as well. This one has an expiration date of, you can see it right on the top up here, 8 of 2009. And then these prep pads, right? These are tiny alcohol prep pads. These actually have an expiration date, and you can see those right there. It says 6 of 2018. If I open this up, it's still going to be pretty moist, but you're going to see how small these are. They're really, if you're given a shot, you know, it's just kind of a, there. You know, you can just clean up that area, and then you can do a shot or whatever the case may be. However, most safety folks are not paramedics, and they don't have the ability to do shots, so I wouldn't even worry about these. Sometimes I'm really curious as to why these would be in first aid kits, because there's nothing that you're going to do as a first responder that's going to require you to clean off an area. Maybe there is if you're using like a spray, like a hydrogen peroxide or something like that on a cut or a wound. But for the most part, you're there to do initial first aid and get them ready for when the actual responders show up, the primary responders. What I found quite interesting is ice packs do not have an expiration date, or at least none that I have found yet. At least on the box, it does not have it. But when you look at the packaging enclosed, there's still nothing as well on it. So the thing about these is you have to pop or break the internal item in there that releases the chemical that makes this a cold pack. And it gets really, really cold, by the way. So I wouldn't be concerned about these having an expiration date. And the last thing I'm going to cover is potable aqua tablets. These do have expiration dates. However, this particular one, I do not see an actual expiration date on it. It's never been open. So more than likely the items that are within this are still valid. But I got to do more research on these to find out if they actually do in fact last forever, or is there a expiration date on these. All this stuff came out of a first aid kit, and these first aid kits were supposedly being managed by a third-party company. And by that I mean companies like, well, I'm not going to say any names of companies because I don't want to go down that road. However, if you have a third-party company coming into your business and they are updating and making sure that your items are being replaced when they're expired, you should really have somebody come behind them and just do a double check to make sure they're doing what they say they're going to do. All this stuff was just recently. Now, for granted, I brought this one out, even though it has a date on it that's valid. I brought it out to show you just the packaging itself, where the date was. But the rest of this stuff, it was all in first aid kits that were active in a company setting. So with that, I just want to make sure that you guys get out there, check your first aid kits, and make sure that you are checking everything for an expiration date. And then if they do have those expiration dates, get it out and get some new stuff in there. All right? With that, I'm Gary Marsh. This is PDC Safety. Have a great day.